All right, man, peace. You know, brother, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been a very ballyhooed player for the last 5 years or so. His nickname, the Greek Freak, seems to denote that he can do things that people should not normally be able to do. And when we watch him play, he pretty much exhibits those traits. He has guard skills while being in the body of a power forward or center. His only weakness is in long-range jump shooting. He seems to be a great leader. His teammates seem to love him, and his team overall has taken a quantum leap this year with the addition of their coach, Budenholzer. So the only question is, can they finally break through in this year's playoffs, get out of the first round, and maybe even challenge not just for a championship appearance, but for a championship period? He sat down with Miss Rachel Nichols, and he tells all he's going to touch on a myriad of topics, including his MVP candidacy, as well as what he thinks about Anthony Davis. So, of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
But first, I don't know if anyone in the NBA is having as much fun right now as Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks have the best record in the entire league. Giannis has been an MVP candidate for pretty much the first minute of the season. And while teams like Boston and even Golden State have had issues with infighting and chemistry, the honeymoon in Milwaukee seems like it might never end. I sat down with Giannis during the...
Honeymoons always come to an end, and that's going to be the real test of his leadership. What does he do when things start to go wrong?
During the All-Star break to check in on how he's doing. Take a look.
I don't think there's ever been a player like Giannis on any level.
I would agree with that, honestly. And that's why I stated that when Shaquille O'Neal declared him the new Superman, I actually agreed. Because I think that he's Shaq for this generation of players. He's really what Shaq was supposed to be. A freakish athlete in a superhuman level body. The difference is that Giannis actually takes care of his body. Shaq doesn't. For those of us that remember, back in 1992 when Shaq first came into the NBA, all we heard about was how Shaq was only 3% or 4% body fat. He was the biggest attraction in the NBA that season, including Michael Jordan. That's why Jordan gave him 64 points when Orlando went to Chicago, even though Chicago lost that game. Jordan was trying to show Shaq, this is still my league right now. But Shaq was the number one attraction in the NBA that season, even more than Jordan for that first season because he was such an oddity. Now what Giannis is, he's the modern day three-point shooting era version of Shaq. He's what Shaq would have to be today to be as potent on the floor as Shaq was in his prime in the late 90s.
The line to the rim and throws it down. Antetokounmpo. He's almost unstoppable. One of the best teams always to play.
The Bucks have been flying through this season, and yet you have a lot of competition in the East. Philadelphia and Boston get a lot of the headlines. Are you okay with that?
I'm definitely okay. They can get the headlines. You know, they can have the free agency, that, this, you know, whatever it's going on. We know we have the best record in the NBA, but, you know, we can't be satisfied. We got to take it day by day. Like, we haven't won a playoff series yet. So that's our first step.
Absolutely. This brother's mind is in the right place. Milwaukee is very fortunate to have a dude like this as their main superstar.
Giannis, left wing for his third three of the game. Oh my! Yes, sir!
If he starts making those shots, if Giannis ever starts being able to display a consistent outside jump shot or a turnaround jump shot, you know, in the low post, he's going to be completely unstoppable. He's going to be one of the greatest players to ever play. He's already trending in that direction. People really don't understand how great a season that he's having. The season that he's having this year is right on par with the year that Olajuwon had in the 93-94 season. Not only is he averaging 27 points a game, 13 rebounds a game, but he's number one in the NBA in overall defensive win shares.
You are surrounded by terrific three-point shooters on that team. Do any of them try to work with you or give you advice about how to develop that part of your game?
They always tell me to, have confidence in myself and just shoot the ball. And just believe in myself because they've seen me work hard in practice. And Coach Bob wants me to shoot it every game. And, it doesn't matter if I miss it or make it or lose or win.
Did you hear what Joel Embiid said about how he learned to shoot three-pointers? He said that he went into YouTube and that he just typed in white guys shooting three-pointers and that he felt that was to be his tutorials. And then he said that's how he learned to shoot.
That's Joel. I don't think he probably did that.
No, he did that. Joel definitely did that. But that's the difference between Joel Embiid and Giannis. Giannis, his nose is all the way down to the grindstone. I'm not saying that Joel Embiid does not work hard. I'm sure he works hard as well. You have to work hard to be as great as Joel Embiid is. But the focus that Giannis brings is what I think will be the determining factor in the difference between Milwaukee and Philadelphia. But we'll find out, because I think that Philadelphia has arguably the best starting five in the entire NBA. They're right there with Golden State when it comes to raw talent.
That's real, but I don't think he'll learn how to shoot it. What is from that? It's a process. It's a process.
He says that too.
Oh yeah, it's a process. But yeah, as I said, it's a process, and just just gotta believe in yourself, and shooting just about confidence.
He's been starting to about 14, and now here he is as a rookie playing in the NBA, going coast to coast. This guy's gonna be special.
Your physical body since your rookie year has changed so much. When you look back at that rookie Giannis Antetokounmpo, what do you see? What does that guy look like to you?
He looked really skinny.
Well, he was an old boy when he came into the NBA. Was he like 19 years old? So it takes a while for his body to fully develop. I mean, how old is he now? Like 25? So he's entering his physical prime.
Skinny, but he was a kid that worked hard, believed in himself, and gave everything he had. He didn't have much. He had a lot of muscles, he didn't have a lot of skills, but he gave his heart and soul, every game to get better.
Where would you like to see Anthony Davis land?
Teams are going to be moving heaven and earth to go get him.
I never said Boston wasn't on my list. The market doesn't matter to me. I just want to win.
Brothers, the more that I observe Anthony Davis, the more that I really begin to understand how well he'll fit in with LeBron James. He really will fit in well because he embraces that toxicity. He's very comfortable in that environment, and I think that LeBron and Rich Paul have schooled him on embracing that aspect of being a superstar, to embrace immersing yourself in the toxicity. He seems to like it. Giannis, I don't think is someone who would like that.
There have been a lot of headlines and storylines all through the NBA this season. What have you learned from watching the Anthony Davis situation? Because eventually you'll have your own free agency talk around you and all of that stuff.
I think that Giannis will handle his free agency completely different. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me that if and when Milwaukee offers him the extension, that he just signs it right away.
Stuff.
If I was Anthony Davis and I was in his position, one thing I would probably do, not talk about free agency.
I'm surprised that Giannis would say that on camera. It's very rare that superstar NBA players speak about what they think another superstar should do. So that to me speaks volumes on on Giannis's, number one, his naivete, but also how genuine he is in many of his appraisals and his thoughts. Because one of the main things that people learn when they develop media savvy is how to be disingenuous on camera.
I'll focus on just playing basketball. I think he got a lot into talking and thinking about it and letting people say their opinion about it. But obviously he can do whatever he wants. He can do whatever he feels best for him to build the best legacy and leave the best legacy behind. But if I was in the same situation, I'm not talking about it.
Great answer. But you have a very different brain from Anthony Davis, or at least you seem to. Who knows? You might change, because we all thought that Kyrie had a very different brain from LeBron James. And as he's starting to grow, it's very apparent that he and LeBron have a lot more in common than the differences that were originally perceived that they had. When it comes to Anthony Davis, once again, it's very clear that his fandom of LeBron James is going to allow him to fit in very well with him.
I'll take a note for whenever it comes up for you. You did have such a different path to the NBA than so many other players. How do you think all of those different worries and concerns that you had as a kid growing up, how did that affect who you are now?
It definitely affected me. It made me who I am now. It made me this tough person. It gave me my work ethic, my discipline, and that's why I feel pressure, because like we actually had problems and issues like that we couldn't provide ourselves with food, and they're telling me about if I feel pressured and stuff, being in the NBA and leading a team, I just work hard, have fun, and try to be the same person that I was when I was a kid.
And that's someone with proper perspective. He understands that he's making 8 figures a year to play a game. All he has to do is train hard. You train hard, you practice, you put yourself in certain scenarios in practice, and when a game comes, you either convert or you don't. It's no real pressure. See, you have certain players who understand that. Like Giannis, Kawhi, they don't allow the media to dictate to them what their emotional state is going to be. Kyrie, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they feed into the toxicity aspect. Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, they know how to train the media. I'm going to dictate to you how we're going to interact. You're not going to dictate to me.
So you're definitely influenced by who you were growing up in Greece. But you've also become Americanized in some ways too. We've done your American tour of food this past summer.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was awesome.
Also, your love of American TV shows.
Yes.
I know that you love reality TV, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, all of those shows. Why do you love reality TV so much?
I love the drama. That's my, I guess, called over here, guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
That's what you guys say. My girlfriend made me watch the shows, so.
Yeah, that's really the point. Your woman makes you watch that damn show. And you quote unquote fell in love with it by osmosis because she won't give you back the damn remote control.
Being watching the show, I love it actually. You know, after games, that relaxes me a lot.
Should we expect the Giannis Antetokounmpo reality TV show?
No, that's never gonna happen.
Good for you, bro.
I feel like he's the most valuable player in our league and has changed things in Milwaukee, and he sets the tone for our entire organization.
I do want you to talk about MVP because your coach has made a very strong case for why you should win the MVP this year. Can you give me the case why you should win MVP?
Very easy. He's been probably the third best player on offense in the entire NBA when you consider points, rebounds, and assists. And he's been the best player defensively. In addition to that, his team has the best record. So I don't even really think that the MVP award or the MVP race is close. And second right now would be Paul George, not James Harden.
I should win MVP because probably I don't care.
Stop lying, brother. You know you care.
I just care about winning. That's what I care about.
That's not a very good campaign speech.
It doesn't matter. I just care about winning. I know if you keep winning and you keep playing good basketball, it's going to take care of itself.
Absolutely. That's a better answer. As long as you guys keep winning and you keep putting up those same numbers and you keep having the impact on defense that you've been having, the MVP award should take care of itself. You already have the NBA marketing machine behind you. They would love to have a black man from Greece win the NBA MVP award. They would love that.
Thank you to Giannis for sitting down with me. The video of young, skinny Giannis. That was
awesome.
Man. It's amazing to see it there. The Bucks are on their way to the #1 seed in the East. Giannis brought up, though, in our conversation, he still hasn't won a playoff series in his whole career. So, Tracy, what do you think will make a successful season for them?
Easy. They have to at least get to the conference finals. Really, for them, they need to get to the finals, but that would be a quantum leap. The thing about that is this. LeBron James has dominated the Eastern Conference for the last 8 seasons prior to this one. So any team that makes it to the finals is going to be a quantum leap for them. Even Boston, even though Boston has gotten to the conference final round a couple times in the last few years, for them to make it to the finals, especially with the toxic atmosphere in their locker room, that would be a great achievement for them as well. So right now, Milwaukee is even Steven with everybody else because Philly also, they're neophytes. Toronto, they're relative neophytes. They have a new team. Of course, they have Kawhi who has the experience, but Boston also has Kyrie who has the experience. But Milwaukee's even Steven because they have the best chemistry of any team in the Eastern Conference right now, at least in my estimation. So they need to get to the finals.
You heard him talking there about pressure and what they wanted to do.
Yeah, well, considering that these guys have the best record in the league, have the MVP, I think, this season on their team. Nothing short of making it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I agree with that. That's the basement. That's the floor. The ceiling is winning the whole thing, but they need to get to the finals.
That's your bar.
That is my bar for them. Nothing short of that. I think they have a team that could possibly do that. And when they get there, who knows what could happen? They possibly can make it to the finals, but I think they have a good enough team to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
The more players I talk to, be it Hall of Famers like Tracy or current players, no really offense to James Harden, but they keep talking about Giannis. You are not alone. I've heard it over and over and over. I heard it a lot last week.
Because the former great players, they understand that though what James Harden is doing or has done is relatively impressive, especially if you're a natural scorer and you work hard on your game, sure, it's great. It's phenomenal. He scored over 30 points in 30-some-odd straight games. Great streak. That's cool. But they also understand that if they were to have played in a Mike D'Antoni offense, which has always been known to optimize the offensive output of great players, there's probably at least 7 or 8 guys playing in the league today who could have done what James Harden did if they were allowed to take as many bad shots as James Harden is allowed to take.
In Charlotte. You know what's interesting about the Bucks? Obviously, they haven't won a playoff series yet, but they are kind of immune to the situation that other teams in the East have. You talk about Toronto, first thing people talk about, Kawhi Leonard free agency. You talk about Boston, what's going on with Kyrie. You talk about Philly, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and they're going to keep that team together.
Also, Ben Simmons can't make a shot outside of a layup or a dunk. They talk about that as well. But when it comes to Kawhi Leonard, you have to give him credit for controlling that whole situation. He has not allowed the media to pull him into this endless back and forth about what he's going to do at the end of the season. And that's because he set the rules of engagement from the start by not being overly talkative, by not having social media, at least not any known social medias. He might have some ghost accounts we don't know about, who knows. But Kawhi Leonard understands how to utilize the media.
Guess who's got more free agents than all of them?
Milwaukee.
This entire Bucks team, other than Giannis, is a free agent, which applies pressure to them to keep this team together. And whether he wants to talk about it or not, guess what happens in 2020? We have the extension situation that we had with Kawhi, ended up forcing an issue, and we had it now with AD is forcing an issue. He can extend his contract in 2020.
And I believe he's going to do that without much fanfare.
Which means his free agency is going to come down to 2020.
So I want to just spell this out for people because it is a little bit complicated with the CBA, right? So we are on a move-up clock, and as we've talked a lot on this show, the move-up clock was sort of moved up by the owners. The owners wanted to put in the last CBA, hey, we don't want teams to be in the Oklahoma City Kevin Durant situation, right? So instead of possibly losing them for nothing when they become free agents, we're going to push the free agency. We're going to get them before they get to their free agency.
We're going to make this extension possible.
We're going to make this Supermax extension possible the season before, so we get them before they get out the door. And that's fine. You can try to bribe players to stay, but guys make enough money now, they have enough agency now, that they are making their own decisions.
Well, that's very few players. I mean, Rachel Nichols is trying to act as if so many of these players are turning down the Supermax. Some of them are deciding that they want to team up with other teams or other players strategically. But for the most part, most of these guys decide that they're going to sign back with the Supermax deal. And it makes sense because especially if your franchise is doing their due diligence, they're building up your franchise, you want to stay with them so that you can maximize your earning potential on the floor. Now, Giannis, I'm sure that he has some endorsement deals, but he's not somebody that I see commercial on top of commercial. There are other athletes that I see in commercials more than him. I see Steph Curry in commercials more than him. Now, we know that Anthony Davis wants out. We know that Kawhi Leonard wanted out. We know that Kyrie wanted out. We know that Jimmy Butler wanted out. But other than Anthony Davis, those other 3 players, they had mitigating circumstances that necessitated in their minds why they wanted out of their organization. There's no real mitigating circumstance for why Giannis will want out of Milwaukee.
So with that clock being moved up, no, Giannis does not become a...
Giannis said right there, I'm the fucking MVP. That's what he should have said in the interview when she said, make your case for MVP. I'm the fucking MVP. Let me wind this back.
Stay, but guys make enough money now, they have enough agency now, that they are making their own decisions. So with that clock being moved up, no...
Tell him.
No, Giannis does not become a free agent until 2021, which sounds like a long time from now, but it is 2019 right now, people. And so not this coming summer, but the next summer, they can offer him the Supermax extension, and that's really the inflection point, because that's the point he can decide,
and that's why,
do I want to stay with this organization or not?
And that's why the free agency that they have this summer, where they got to decide, are we paying Chris Middleton? Are we playing Eric Bledsoe? Those are not guarantees. Are we going to keep Brook Lopez? Are we going to keep Niko Mirotic? Are we going to keep Malcolm Brogdon? Okay? So the interesting thing about this is...
And the answer is going to be yes, we're going to keep just about all those guys. Because what other free agents are they going to get to want to come play in Milwaukee other than the guys who were already there or who were traded there?
They aren't really feeling that pressure day to day like the other teams are. And that's why I think that...
Well, you know why they're not really feeling that pressure? It's because they know that their leader, at least on the team, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is not somebody who's going to stir the pot on the floor or in the locker room. So because he's unselfish, they know that they have someone there who's not going to alienate his teammates and make them want to leave. Plus, the expectations for Milwaukee have been greatly over-exceeded this season thus far. Nobody thought that they were going to have the best record in the NBA 3/4 of the way, or 4/6 of the way through the season.
That they can play with a little bit more freedom, even though the reality is they've got just as much issues as anybody else.
If I'm a free agent this offseason, I'm having strong considerations of looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, of playing with Giannis.
Stop lying.
Because of the way he's changed the culture around in Milwaukee. I mean, he's made it a place for us to win. He's made it a winning environment. He's a player that I would enjoy playing with because of his personality. He's all about winning. He's very selfless.
He's so fun.
He's fun.
Well, you know what, Tracy? They actually have the cap space to sign Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving or Kawhi Leonard.
Well, we know them guys ain't going there, so let's not even bring those guys up. KD's either going to re-sign with Golden State, which is what he should do, or he's going to the Clippers, or he's going to the Knicks. That's it.
That's scary.
Nobody talks about
Nobody talks about that.
Now, they would have to let Middleton and Bledsoe go, but in all honesty,
I mean,
you're right.
Hi, Kevin Durant.
But in all honesty,
Middleton.
but seriously, nobody
Chris
talks.
is great, by the way.
Nobody talks about it because they are in Milwaukee,
Right.
where it is under snow and 5 degrees today. I don't know. I'm guessing. I might be right, but that is, in reality, the Bucks have as many options as any other team out there, and they have the MVP candidate on their team.
He's your MVP right now.
Yes.
Absolutely. He's a clear number one right now. Paul George, I had him at 1A before. I'll probably drop him down to number 2. James Harden, I would have number 3. And number 3A, I would have the kid out there in Denver, Jokic.
Okay. Interesting. I think it's going to be such a good race between him, Paul George, James Harden.
Yeah, I don't want to forget about Paul George.
It's going to be so good. All right.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. Hopefully, Giannis will be able to break through this year. I think that it would be great for him as well as the NBA if he were to be able to carry his team to the finals. So peace.